Well, good evening. It's 7 o'clock. And before I call the meeting to order, I would like to make a couple announcements. First, as posted and noted on our meeting agenda, appropriate and proper wearing of face masks is required in all district buildings. This includes our boardroom. Face masks must cover the nose and mouth. So I would note that it is 7 o'clock. I will call the October 11th, 2021 school board meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to roll call. Mrs. Jagosinski, if you do the roll call, please.
Yep. Cheryl Hancock.
Here.
I am here. Chris Lau.
Here.
Rebecca Reber. Here. Brian Mopat.
Here.
Emily Zach. Here. Jennifer Beek. Here. And Gary Dunlap is excused.
Is excused, yes. So with 6 of the 7 school board members present, I would declare a quorum. Approval of the agenda. I would note that the agenda has been posted, distributed, and sent to local media. With this in mind, are there any changes to the agenda at this time? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as published.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as published. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Public participation. I will call on people who wish to address the board relative to any item at this time. We ask that a 5-minute time period per person be followed. I ask that those present respect the rights of others wishing to speak by refraining from interrupting them. According to Board Policy 187, citizens are expected to use proper etiquette, decorum, and respect when addressing the board. Robert's Rules of Order are followed. Participants are allowed to remove their face mask while providing public participation. I would also note that discussion of personnel, district personnel, or individual members of the board shall not be considered and are not appropriate. Those should be referred to Policy 870, suggestions, concerns, and complaints to be addressed. So, having said that, the first person I'd like to call on is Neela Hoyland. Do we need?
Hi, my name is Neela Hoyland. I am a 3rd grader at Prairie View Elementary. I have wanted to talk to you for about a month. I heard some grown-ups talk at the meeting last month. Some of them said things that were not true. Masks are important because they help keep you from getting sick. I know none of you want to get sick. I am 8 years old and I understand how masks protect us. Why can't some grown-ups understand that? A couple of weeks ago, I was exposed to COVID-19 at my school. This is not something we can pretend is not happening. This is all our schools. I was in quarantine for 5 days while I waited to be tested. My teacher, Miss Sanchez, met with me on Zoom, and Miss Sanchez met with me on Zoom and made sure I had homework to do so that I could not fall behind. I was very happy when my test came negative. I could go back to school with my friends. I am glad I wore a mask because it protected me from COVID-19. when I was exposed in school. I was exposed on Friday and did not find out until Monday. Because the person who had COVID did not know until then. I saw my grandma that week before I found out I was exposed. I'm glad that I wore a mask in school because my grandma is old and COVID-19 could kill her. My mask meant that I stayed safe, and I kept my family safe too. I love my friends and my family very much. I don't wear my mask because I'm scared of COVID. I wear my mask because I love my community.
Thank you, Neela. Thank you very much. So our next speaker is Callie Anderson.
Good evening. I'm Callie Anderson, a 9th grade student from Holmen High School. I'm going to start this off by saying thank you for letting me speak tonight. I would like to address the mask mandate. I personally really struggle with this. I have asthma and anxiety myself, so wearing a dirty, germ-filled piece of cloth over my face every day does absolutely nothing other than irritate my lungs and agitate my anxiety even worse. From a student's perspective, when you walk into the Holmen High School, more than half the kids in the building have their mask below their nose, proving that these masks are pointless. I can't tell you how many times a day I hear, "Put your mask up, please," or "over your nose." I'm not trying to be disrespectful to staff in any way by not wearing my mask right, but when teachers yell at me, they don't seem to ask why I don't have it above my nose. I personally have a reason, and it's because I can't breathe normally even without a mask. Forcing a mask on kids that are healthy or kids that have lung conditions and anxiety is absolutely ridiculous. We should have all the right to decide if we choose to wear a mask or not, and not be forced. Please take this into consideration and make masks optional. Thank you.
Thank you, Callie. Callie, thank you. And next is Caitlin Sowie.
I wrote down what I want to say today. Who could sit down means who to talk to. You're good. Okay. So first of all, I want to wish everyone a reflective and respectful Indigenous Peoples Day. And I would also like to acknowledge that all of us that are here in person tonight are standing or sitting on Ho-Chunk land. So I thought we should appreciate that because it's today. And so, okay, the last few weeks, a few people have been talking about fear, and I've seen some really unhealthy coping strategies play out here. Fear is totally normal, and we know that repressing normal emotions leads to mental illness. I want to teach my children that they are allowed to feel their emotions and that their concerns are valid, and help them build confidence and problem-solving abilities. Fear is sticking your head in the sand and pretending we aren't in a pandemic. Fear is seeing hundreds of thousands of people die and pretending COVID is over or that it's just like influenza. Fear is telling yourself that something is out of your control and doing nothing when there are proven things that you can do to protect the people that you love. Fear is being so deep in denial that you get upset by scientifically proven mitigation strategies like masking and embarrass yourself fighting them at school board meetings because they require you to acknowledge reality. I'm teaching my children love, compassion, and community. We know that masking works to protect our children, friends, and families. We know that the COVID-19 vaccine limits the impact of the virus on individuals and significantly reduces the spread of COVID between vaccinated individuals. We know these things because they have been and are continuing to be studied by reputable scientific sources. 2 weeks ago, someone asked that you consider other sources of information. I know that you have. I know that you, as elected officials, work hard to educate yourselves on topics relative to our district. I also thank you for following the guidance of reputable scientific studies and not some link that somebody's aunt shared on Facebook. When providing your own guidance to our schools and our community, that's really important. You guys, as board members, are currently helping to guide a community through an unprecedented crisis. Some community members don't know how to handle their own emotions about what we're all collectively going through, and they're lashing out at you. I suggest we brainstorm additional mental health supports for the families of children in our community, or families and children in our community. One suggestion that I have is, I don't know if it's available. If not, I haven't heard about it, but if there's like an EAP type support for short-term mental health resources that people in our school district can utilize, I think that would be really helpful for everybody for a variety of reasons, not just COVID-19, but like domestic abuse situations, children that are struggling. And otherwise, I just wanted to say keep up the good work and don't let temper tantrums sway you. And thank you guys for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Next speaker is Thomas Olson.
Could I, point of privilege?
Yes.
There's some masking, some people with their mask below their nose.
So again, as I announced, you need to wear your mask above your nose as well. We've got a couple people who haven't. As noted on the agenda, if we can't follow the protocols, we will recess and go into a virtual meeting. So I'm asking that you wear the mask above your noses. Jen, I don't believe yours is above your nose. Thank you.
I was looking at a lady in the back row. I don't think you can see her.
I can't.
She's next to a guy
I'm
with a
sorry.
plaid shirt on.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Thomas Olson.
Hi, I'm here to discuss the close contact policy that you guys have put forth. I have a handout that I got from the school nurse that kind of lays out how you guys handle that. My point of contention, I guess, at this point, we're quarantining kids. My daughter twice, who was Prairie View, who is healthy, never tested positive for COVID, but yet now she's been out of school for 2 weeks. Missed quite a few things. She's out again this week. I don't understand why we're quarantining healthy kids. Other schools in the community aren't doing that and not having any problems. On Alaska, for one, I believe Trempealeau's the same way. So I'm not quite sure where we're getting our information from and doing what we're doing. I have it from a good source that at Prairie View, anybody that's had COVID, all the close contacts, there hasn't been a single one that has tested positive for COVID. That was a close contact. Now, I can't speak for, the other schools in the district. And maybe you guys know that. I'm not sure. Do you?
So Thomas, part of our policy in the state, we aren't able to interact with public participation. So we will, I suspect Jill is taking some notes and will respond to you after tonight's meeting.
So, if that's the case, if it isn't, I don't know if we're tracking it, but I think we should be. Because if that's the case throughout the school district, why are we still doing this? What is the objective? To keep kids out of school? The point is to have those kids in school to learn. If they're healthy, they should be there. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say masks are good, bad. I just want my kid in school. And all last year we were out, we had an infant, my wife was pregnant, that was the best choice for us. This year we chose to bring her back into school. She's been out twice. In this brochure, it also says 3 to 6 feet. If an infected student stays away, they don't have to quarantine if they're wearing their mask properly. How can we not keep our children at least 3 to 6 feet away at all times in a classroom? That is beside me. I don't understand how that's not possible. Now, if we need to get rid of stuff that's in the classroom that's not essential to learning, then we need to do that so our kids can stay in school. I think that's the thing that we should be focusing on. I guess, my my thought is if we're not tracking that, the close contacts and how many are actually, testing positive, you guys as a group hired some contact tracers. Not sure if they're tracking that. I mean, just a thought, like that would be a good information I think that we should know. I guess other than that, if the masks work, again, why are we doing close contact? Doesn't make much sense. Now, then that's a topic that I'm sure a lot of other people will discuss here that I don't need to trump on that one as well. That's not my goal here. So, I guess that's all I have to say. I'd like them to follow these guidelines and somehow get the classroom set up so we don't have to worry about that. That would be the ultimate goal. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for speaking tonight. Next is Brooke Vetch. Brooke Vetch.
Okie dokie. Well, maybe this is a waste of time. I'm not here tonight to tell you how disappointed I am with the school board. I'm not here to share with you how unprofessional many of you have been over the last year and a half, as many of us have been watching your meetings and your end of meeting comments. I'm not here tonight to share with you that there are other bad behaviors or choices that exist in our community besides COVID. I'm not here tonight to tell you how to live your life and never drink Mountain Dew or fruit juice. I'm not here tonight to tell you how much I believe in taking good care of your health by eating healthy, exercising, and taking vitamins. I'm not telling you how to protect yourself or others around you. This is your choice if you want to give fruit juice and Mountain Dew to a kid. I don't tell you that you are stupid, ridiculous, a science hater, a bad parent, or that fruit juices can lead to obesity and inappropriate weight gain, as well as excessive weight gain that is associated with high blood pressure, hypertension, strokes, diabetes, and other negative health issues later in life. I am not here to tell you that masks are not effective or even challenge you that our kids are not wearing them 100% of the time. Heck, I can get my answers by looking at photos placed on school Facebook pages, parents that take pictures during their school events, teachers I see out in the community. Maybe you understand what I'm saying is that I'm here to tell you that outside of the school and even in school, masks are not worn 100% of the time. I am not here to ask you questions about quarantining numbers of healthy kids. I'm not here to find out how many of those healthy kids that were prevented from getting a public education never got COVID. I'm not even here to tell you how many kids have already left our school district for homeschooling choices, online school choices, private school choices, or just moved out of Holmen to get away from the school district. I personally know people that fit into every single one of those categories. Maybe you know already, but the state of Wisconsin and our Holmen La Crosse area has a choice to mask up, has a choice if they wish to mask up when they go out to eat, go shopping, watch an Oktoberfest parade, or drink beer with 75,000 people across the states. I'm not here to share with you that we can go to the Holmen High School volleyball or a high school volleyball game in Sparta, Wisconsin, and not be mandated to wear a mask. We can go to a high school volleyball tournament in the Dells and not be asked to mask. I'm not here to tell you about COVID numbers, COVID death rates, inaccuracy in reporting COVID numbers, the vaccination levels, ages, or even the risk factors that come along with the vaccinations, because this school board already knows all of those numbers. I am here tonight to let you know how ridiculous and unattainable your COVID measurements are for when kids and staff won't have to wear masks. So this is where we really need Holmen to listen up. According to the metrics released on October 5th, 2021, we are measuring COVID cases in our entire district-based Holmen community that represents 20,033 people. That means that we include everyone. I would assume that those includes, maybe those living in a nursing home within the school district. Maybe those that don't have kids. Maybe those that have no skin in the game to even pay attention to what goes on in the school district. So Holmen, in order to remove masks, we need less than 1.42 cases per day for high school kids to not have to wear a mask. So we got 20,033 people. Out of all of those people, You are telling us that you are going to keep masks on our kids if we have over 1.42 cases in Holmen. Do you see how ridiculous that number is? How unattainable it is? How we will never, ever, ever, ever take masks off our kids? It's a choice if you wish to protect your family. It's a choice if you want to drink Mountain Dew. Now let's get down to 2 cases a day in a 10-day time frame for kids 4K to 6. So 2 cases in 10 days out of all 20,000 people that live in this community is what it's going to take to remove masks. So here's what. I'm not here to tell you that we have 7 kids and 3 adults out of the school right now. You already know these numbers. I'm here to ask for more realistic measurements to the choice to wear masks. It's the same as I'm not here tonight to tell you to wear a life jacket every day, all day long, because you might come in close contact with water or know someone somewhere close to the water who may or may not drown. It's a choice to drink Mountain Dew Sprite juice, wear your life jacket, and let's have a choice to wear a mask as well.
Okay, thank you. Next is Brenda Lychecky.
Close, Brenda Lychecky.
Okay,
West W7936 Tulip Lane.
thank you.
I really admire people that can talk off the top of their head, but that's not me, so I wrote a few thoughts down. Once upon a time in the year 2020, a deadly virus invaded Earth and wreaked havoc on communities across the globe. People could not agree on how to defeat the virus. At the time we're on, the embers of fear and mistrust between people erupted into full-fledged flames of anger and contempt. Now, this sounds like the start of a science fiction horror story, but we understand all too well that this has been our collective reality the past 18+ months. Currently, I know people in our community are concerned and distraught over the controversy that has ignited around the mask mandate in our district. I also know this mandate has deeply divided our community, but I don't think it has to. Instead of viewing this as the end of our story and being resigned to having permanent hostility and an attitude of us versus them going forward, maybe it can be the beginning of a new way of thinking and coming together. I think if we frame this moment a bit differently, it can make a huge difference in terms of how our story unfolds. It is critical to remember that at the center of this debate, it really, really is not about masks or political affiliations, but rather our children. Both sides are strongly, strongly convicted in their beliefs because they fiercely love their children. I am confident that every one of us can agree on that. So basically, what we disagree on is the best way to love and protect our kids going forward. Every time someone gets up to speak at a school board meeting, it is because they're showing up and advocating for themselves as a student or a parent or guardian wanting to be included in the decision-making process. Expressing their views based on what they believe in their heart is the best solution. This is something that we as a community can and should celebrate, passionate community involvement. I do think, however, it is up to us adults to model to our kids what it looks like and sounds like to have healthy, constructive, respectful conversations on very difficult topics. Listening to understand, not just to be heard, and genuinely striving to find common ground to achieve a win-win outcome. Because we know our kids are watching us and learning from us, following our lead on how we treat one another. Shaming the other side into acting and thinking like you do simply doesn't work. I know I've tried shaming my husband for a number of years into consistently putting the dirty dishes into the dishwasher and not the sink, with no luck. One final thought. It is important to remind ourselves, myself included, that the enemy in this narrative is COVID-19, not one another. Let's make a commitment to band together to continue being a community that is built on kindness and mutual respect and genuine goodwill toward one another. That is the ending to this unfortunate story I hope everyone in Holmen will want to write. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, next up is Serena Johnson.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Serena, and I live in Midway. You guys have my address up there. First, I'd like to thank everybody here on the board for keeping our kids safe and making good decisions in that path. I won't be providing any statistics today, as we've already had so many of them. I am educated at the doctoral level and I work in research. That doesn't mean I'm better than anyone else here. It just means that I have more knowledge and understanding of evidence and what's out there. Most people know how to find evidence and collect a few statistics, but that's not the goal of research. The goal is to look at all of the information and fully understand it. Appraising literature involves understanding who, what, and why of what the literature is presenting. One must look at whether the source is reputable. Are they delivering a biased stance due to who they are funded by? Have they published other studies? Were those studies reliable? Would another researcher be able to repeat their process and obtain similar results? Is there a political, financial, religious, or other agenda involved in their work? Once these sources are identified as reputable by eliminating all the aforementioned criteria, then one would analyze and translate what information the author is presenting. The pros and cons of each would be listed. Common bioethical principles would be evaluated in the decision-making process. Beneficence and non-maleficence involve balancing the benefits and risks of each side. The goal is to understand which option will result in the least amount of harm. Justice involves equitably distributing the benefits and risks of the options available. How will the decisions I make affect others? Autonomy is also a principle considered in this process. Autonomy does not mean that we go along with whatever one person says. One must assess their degree of understanding, then educate to ensure there is full understanding. The moral rule of respect for autonomy involves telling the truth. Informed decision-making. An informed decision cannot be made unless the individual has been presented with and evaluated all the risks and benefits of their decision. Once they have been provided with and thoughtfully taken time to understand the risks and benefits of each side, they can truly make an informed decision. No one here has had their right to autonomy taken away. Everyone has a choice to either follow decisions made by the school board or have their child attend a school that supports their beliefs, whether it is online or another local setting. When we consider the decision to mask or not mask, we must also consider all the risks and benefits. Doing this allows for a decision that does the least amount of harm to the majority. The evidence speaks for itself. Masking is not harmful physically, emotionally, or mentally to the majority. The small population that has truly been affected by masking have chosen other education options. Our children have done exceptionally well with masking, and this has allowed us to keep our numbers down in our school district. Let's continue on this path until parents have had the chance to choose vaccination for their children. At this point, there is no choice for that population, but there will be soon. I will share something personal. A young friend of mine recently passed away. She had COVID, but her death was not directly related to COVID, rather indirectly related to COVID. You see, if she had not contracted COVID, then the infection that she developed would not have killed her. The infection she had has an extremely low mortality rate. She was an otherwise healthy and active young woman. She had her whole life ahead of her, and that was taken away by COVID. Remember who the real enemy is in this whole scenario: COVID. Thank you.
Say, Brenda, I think you forgot to put your mask on. Thank you. Jennifer Wesley.
I have very, very little prepared tonight, just a few bullet points, and they're in no particular order. So I'll just roll with it. First, I just want to state that when I was running for school board, I was fully prepared to be at as many meetings as possible. And because I'm not on that side of the bench with you guys, I'm still committed to that because I am committed to the students at Holmen and I'm committed to my kids' education. So if you get sick of seeing me here, I'm sorry, but I'm committed and I'm sticking around. The school is following La Crosse County Health Department and the CDC and whatever other organization you are. You're following the science, but from what I've gathered over the last 18 months is the science is nothing but political science lately. This is a completely political driven management of this pandemic, and you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid, in my opinion. It's at the, of course, the sacrifice of our kids and our students. Your metrics, like Brooke mentioned, are designed so that COVID has to be completely eradicated before the masks come off of our kids. And I think that's a bit of an overreach. I'm not sure if enough thought went into designing those metrics, if it was considered that 2 people out of 20,000 in our community, and even those 2 people can be shut-in invalids that have no ties to the district, would still keep our kids in masks. I think that should be reconsidered. I don't know where the logic in that metric system came from, but it makes 0 sense. The masks are ineffective, and we all know that, yet we're overreaching and still mandating. All I can conclude is that there must be some other ulterior motive or financial gain driving this mask mandate. I know that the Holmen School District has received ESSER funds. I haven't paid attention to which board meeting it was discussed on how much ESSER funds were received or what they were being used for, or how much are yet to come. If somebody after the meeting can point me in the direction of which board meeting that was, I'll go back and watch it for myself. I'm just interested to know how the ESSER funds are being spent and how much ESSER funds are being received, and then is there more to come? That's really all that I had time to jot down while I was eating dinner tonight. But like I said, I'm not going to give up on my kids, and I'm not going to give up on the rest of the Holmen students, and I'm going to stand up for them and make sure that they're all entitled to some freedoms and liberties that all students deserve to have, and the enjoyment of school-age life.
So thank you, Jen. Tony Zach.
Good evening, everybody. So I'll kind of be saying some of the same things that Brooke and Jen said. According to the metrics released on October 5th, our Holmen High School kids will be required to wear a mask all day until our entire Holmen community of 20,033 people have less than 1.42 COVID cases per day. Yes, we could have 0 cases in our school, but we will have to have 1.42 average daily cases in Holmen. Kids will still have to wear a mask no matter what. So one thing we got to keep in mind is that every scientist and doctor knows that we will never eliminate COVID. However, our media and politicians want you to think that this is possible. The fact is, we have to live with this. Here's another fact, Holmen parents, children, and taxpayers. We have elected a school board that has now shifted the power of the people who are not elected. They do not represent us. And we, the people, have no power because the accountability that was once with the school board is gone. This board is not representing us because they shifted the power and blame to the administration. So please tell me who represents us. Masks should not be banned. Masks should not be forced. Please provide a realistic matrix so we can finally get back to normal. And again, I ask that you make masks optional for the kids in Holmen. So that's what I wrote. Again, I like to stick to script. Just one thing that I do want to mention is that I don't dislike you guys, okay? And I have people that will come up, they'll listen to what I have to say tonight, and 2 weeks ago and 2 weeks prior to that, and they'll attack me in different ways. And I know it's to me, right? But I've known some of you people that sit on this board for a long time, and I respect your position. I really do. Honestly. I mean, Cheryl, you and I have had some conversations back and forth, and we've always come to some sort of middle ground. Anita, you've come after me a few times.
I don't think we're supposed to mention board members by name.
I'm sorry.
Cheryl.
I should have
So,
called.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Gavel me.
Gavel it.
All right, there you go. I like the gavel. So just so you guys know, I'm not here to throw you all under the bus every 2 weeks. I'm not going to threaten you. I'm not going to do anything crazy like that. I'm just a parent who has strong convictions for my children and the children of others. And a lot of people, I walk through the grocery stores and they stop me and they say, thank you for stepping up. Thank you for saying something. So again, it's not just me that comes before you. I represent a lot of different people. So, and for the people that are watching on YouTube and the people that are sitting in the audience, I'm not a bad dude. If you want to reach out to me and sit down and have a cup of coffee or something like that, many people have done that. So again, I respect your position and I respect you guys as people that sit on the school board. And I understand the position now. It's become clear to me in the last few weeks that it's really not you guys making the decisions as far as I can see. It sounds like it's the administration and the team that you put together that are doing that. And the metrics that we have now are really an overreach, like Jen said. So again, I hope that you understand where I come from, understand that I am a parent that loves my children dearly, and I will stand up for them, and I'll stand up for the rights of other people. And again, I appreciate you, and thank you very much for letting me speak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Barb Wench is our next speaker.
We are now 19 months into a global pandemic. The district continues with its mitigation strategies, including masking. As a result, the district has not had to return to virtual instruction. In the midst of all of the negative comments continued to be voiced, not only here to this board, but to school boards across the country, I believe it is important to let you know how much you are truly appreciated. And as board and administration, I ask you to also continue to spread this support to our district teachers and staff who are also under extreme amounts of stress as a result of the pandemic and are working tirelessly to provide our students with the exceptional instruction this district is known for. After all, we are the 6th fastest growing community in the state. Families want to move here, and I wasn't going to tell you this, but I'm going to. I had a friend come to me today and actually tell me that they have a family member who is specifically looking for a house in Holmen right now because they want to move here because of the education system we have here. I'm going to leave you tonight with words from a district employee who cannot be here. I wish to thank you for issuing a mask requirement for employees and students of our district. I am immunized, however, still came down with COVID. Although I was sick for only a few days, it is not something I would wish on anyone. At this time, none of my coworkers have tested positive. I wore my mask faithfully at work, washed my hands thoroughly, and disinfected my workspace. A person I live with does not have to wear a mask at work. This person did not wear a mask. This person contracted COVID. Other staff members at their place of employment are also COVID positive. At a time when employees are difficult to find and keep, and there are little or no substitute options, I am ever so thankful that I didn't cause any other staff members to be absent from their jobs. The result could have been catastrophic. Our jobs are to be able to provide education to our students. None of us want to return to virtual education. We know that the best place for our students is in the classroom. Thank you for requiring masks, as in this circumstance, you can see that it does make a difference and is keeping our staff protected, keeping more of us working and being able to provide the education students deserve. Thank you for putting your employees first. Thank you for putting your students first. Thank you for protecting others.
Okay, thank you, Barb. That concludes public participation. So we will move on to recognition and thank you. Julie Holmen.
Good evening. Tonight we want to recognize that this week is National School Lunch Recognition Week. National School Lunch Program plays an important role in helping to ensure that every child in the nation starts school ready to learn, because a hungry or undernourished child is less likely to be eager and attentive student. In the School District of Holmen, we are especially grateful for our nutrition services team that has found ways to provide meals to students and their siblings free of charge during the pandemic. Thank you to the staff members that work tirelessly to provide healthy and affordable meals to our students every school day. The next recognition is actually next week's celebration, which is National School Bus Safety Week, October 18th through the 22nd. The School District of Holmen will join schools across the U.S. in celebrating National School Bus Safety Week. During the week, we will celebrate the bus and van drivers of the School District of Holmen and all others that contribute to the safe travel of our students to and from school on our buses and vans. Thank you to our Transportation Department staff members.
Okay, thank you. So, next item are reports and discussion, and we will hear from Kim about the ESSA and Title I report.
Good evening. I'm happy to have Bridget Farron with us tonight. She's one of our Title I teachers, so she's going to help me with our Every Student Succeeds Act report, which is also kind of a year in review of our title programs. So overall, the purpose of ESSA is really to ensure that all of our children have a significant opportunity to receive that fair, equitable, and high-quality education, and to work on closing those educational achievement gaps. So in the School District of Holmen, that means that we work really hard to ensure that we have a really strong partnership, not just with our school staff, but our families, our communities, to really provide that support, both in reading and math, to promote academic success for all of our students. So Title I is actually just one of several different ESSA programs. The focus of this for us really is to provide support for our universal instruction. We do that through the use of current research-based interventions, as well as engaging in ongoing collaboration with our families and our teachers. All of our teachers work hard to provide a really safe, nurturing environment for our students, and we do a lot of professional development to make sure that we are up on the best practices. So in 2019-2020, we were awarded school-wide Title I status. We shifted away from our targeted assistant programs. Really gave us a lot more flexibility in terms of how we ran our programs in our individual buildings. Part of that, though, means that we have three pieces that we have to ensure that we do every year. And it just so happens these fit nicely within our continuous improvement plan that we do as a district anyway. So all of our schools participate in a comprehensive needs assessment, meaning essentially that we go through and we take a look at what are areas that we're doing really well in and what are some opportunities that we have to work on, some goal areas. So then we set goals with specific measures. That leads to our comprehensive school-wide program where we look at these goals, we have scorecards, and we take steps towards attaining those goals. And we're constantly evaluating and revising those to make sure that we are working towards achieving those. So all of our buildings have a really strong universal program, and we have really responsive intervention systems, but our Title I program does allow us to have additional staff and funds for 3 of our buildings. So we have our 3 elementary buildings that do qualify for Title I. They're Evergreen, Sand Lake, and Viking. Last year, Julie Holmen and I shared that our Title I budget took quite a bit of a hit. And so as a result, we were only able to fund portions of our FTE at those 3 buildings. This is last year's FTE equivalencies. They're similar this year, but not exactly the same. And then that takes us to Bridget and the Title I program that we have at Sand Lake.
All right. First of all, as I talk, I'm going to use the word "we" a lot. There is another interventionist at Sand Lake, and although she's not technically a Title I teacher, we work very closely together. And so at Sand Lake, our primary focus is on our small groups of students, and our goal is to help boost them along their learning continuum to grade level. So we're filling some of the prerequisite skills that they need for classroom instruction, and that might be one of the targeted interventions or a second dose of what they are doing in the classroom. We keep the groupings flexible in between interventionist, and that is all based on data from our district assessments, our observations, and classroom teacher observations. And we keep track of student progress. We monitor them weekly and work with where they are at. As far as our family involvement, we are hoping to get back to some family engagement nights this spring. COVID-19 has prevented those. But in the meantime, we send home books for students in our reading programs and math materials, decks of cards, dice, and games that go along with them, or resources that parents ask for to help talk about books at home or to support any resources they need to support that instruction. One of our new goals at Sand Lake this year is to work more in the classroom settings. A big district push is professional learning communities, so we are attending the grade level meetings for those so that we are more in touch with what's happening in the classroom, and that is enabling building some relationships and to go into classrooms to do some team teaching to reach more students.
Thanks. Bridget really hit nicely the family involvement piece that we also had, as she mentioned. Our teachers are working very closely with our building staff as well as reaching out to families, and we are very hopeful that we will get back to our family literacy nights this spring. And then the last piece is that we do have some private school partners that we work with. They receive a proportional share of our budget. So we partner with St. Paul's and St. Pat's and Onalaska, primarily through math tutoring after school. And then new this year coming on board is our Great River Montessori School. And while they didn't actually generate Title I funds, they are participating in our Title II and Title IV programs. So we continue that partnership with them. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Then we will move on to the Early College Credit Program, Start College Now, and Transcripted Credit Program. And Kim is going to report on that as well.
Well, actually, I'm going to have some help. So we have Lindsay Sipe over from the high school, and she really does all the behind-the-scenes work to make these programs a success. So we thought, who better to share than Lindsay herself? So I'll help steer, though.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so our Early College Credit Program and Start College Now program is offered to Holmen High School students. And it really offers students the opportunity to participate in courses that are offered at either UWL, Viterbo, or Western Technical College. Early College Credit is with La Crosse and Viterbo, and then Start College Now is with Western. Students who qualify for the program can receive high school credit and post-secondary credit and are taking courses on the post-secondary institution's campus. So we have 2 application deadlines, March 1st and October 1st, and I always try to tell students that those are DPI deadlines, so those deadlines are pretty firm for students to decide if they're going to participate. The process for applying for these 2 programs, so students typically meet with their high school counselor, have the discussion of, I would like to kind of extend learning beyond the high school's campus and look to go to UWL or Viterbo or Western. We talk about their career plan, what their post-secondary goals are for after high school, and then talk about, have they extinguished the courses at the high school? So have they taken the opportunities at the high school already before going to the campuses? And then do they meet the college's requirements and any prerequisites that the college may have? Students fill out an application, they submit that to me. Mr. Sackett and I review those applications and make sure that students are in good academic standing at the high school. We want to set them up for success, so we want them to be in good academic standing at the high school first. And then we forward those applications on to the post-secondary institution. And then the post-secondary institution, I always say I kind of pass the ball onto their court, and then they communicate with the student about registration. So these are some numbers for 2021 and 2022. So this fall, we had a total of 11 credits earned at UWL, 3 at Viterbo, and 30 at Western. You can see a list of courses that are taken. This is not every course, but this is just kind of a summary. CNA is extremely popular at Western. The joy of CNA is students take that course actually after the school day. So it's nice for students who maybe don't want to leave high school during the day. They can do the CNA program at night. And then Intro to Sociology is a really big course. We've had some students in science courses, advanced science courses this year. So that's a little bit of a idea as to what courses students are taking. And then for this spring, we just had our October 1st deadline. And so students, there's 12 credits worth of students that wish to participate at UWL, and then 60 credits at Western. So a little bit of a fluctuation. Here's a 5-year trend. I was just looking at this while I was waiting to present, and as you can see, things have kind of dropped, and a lot of students during COVID did not want to be virtual at the college level. So students decided when UWL and Western were virtual that they would rather just focus on high school courses and not take those post-secondary courses at the virtual level. So here's the financial impact for this school year. So at UWL, the price per credit is $105.33, and that's with a little bit of a discount. So 23 credits, you can see $2,422.59 for the School District of Holmen. And what that would cost families outside of early college credit. So if a student were to just take it on their own, that cost would be $9,844 for families. And then the cost of Western credit is $138.90 per credit. So that total is $12,501. And the anticipated district cost would be $14,923.59 for the program. And then I always think the cost savings, though, is $22,000, $345 to students, which is huge.
So basically, the school district is paying for them to acquire college credits.
Right.
Which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Right. Yeah.
Is Viterbo in that same price range, that 125-ish, we'll say?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Chris?
Viterbo.
Oh, Viterbo. Yeah, right in that same ballpark. Yep. So that moves us on to transcripted credit courses. So these are in-house at the high school college credits. So it's courses that are taught by Holmen High School teachers, and the teachers themselves are required to meet a certain qualification in order to offer the courses as transcripted courses at the high school. Once approved, the high school teacher will work with the college instructor to align their course to make sure that it's meeting the competencies at Western as well. And then at the end of the course, the high school teacher submits the grades to the college. The student, if they earn a C or better, they will receive college credit and high school credit. And then this year, new to Holmen High School, we are offering in-house college credit through UW Green Bay, which this is dual credit, so different from transcripted credit. But we're offering dual credit with UW Green Bay in our Spanish 4 and French 4 courses. So students have the option to pay $300 for these courses, and it would be the Spanish 202 class and French 202 at UW Green Bay. If students earn a B or better, they will earn the 3 credits for that Spanish 202 or French 202, and then can earn 11 retroactive credits, so a total of 14 credits. And then if students earn a B, C, or a C, they can earn 5.5 retroactive credits, so with a total of 8.5 credits. Financial impact for transcripted credit. So transcripted credit is of no cost to students or to Holmen. We had 726 students earn transcripted credit last year, with a total of 2,404 credits. And that average cost per credit is $138 to $186, depending on that course. But you can see the large savings of $354,804.55. And that costed the district and students $0.
And Tyler's not here with us tonight,
No.
but last time we spoke, I think we still have one of the largest
we are
transcripted
the largest.
programs in our area.
Yes.
Any questions?
Any questions?
I do
Yes,
have
Brian.
a couple questions. With the transcripted credit, do you know how many of those students move on to actually use them or redeem them towards a degree?
That's hard to track because we don't track every student after high school and where they go and then how they use those credits. But we do offer some, like our general psychology course is one in particular that is transferred to most schools, and most students need that or a sociology as a gen ed in their post-secondary plan.
And then the second question I had is, with the kids that are taking courses at UWL or Viterbo or Western, the district pays for those courses. But with the dual credit courses, the students are paying that fee?
The students are paying, yep, because it's not through Start College Now or Early College Credit.
So for Start College Now, no, not Start College Now, Early College Credit, we actually get a portion back from the state as well. Dual credit works on a completely different
basis.
system.
Other questions? No? Okay, thank you so very much. Then moving on to advanced placement, Kim Edwards. Again, this is for report only.
Yes. So we're going to keep Lindsay up here as well to step us through our advanced placement program.
So our AP program at the high school, it's preparing students for tomorrow through an engaging and inclusive educational community. So a little bit about AP courses. Students can save time and money by providing a pathway to earn college credit or advanced placement while still in high school. So the difference with AP versus like a Start College Now or an Early College Credit or transcripted is it's based off of their AP exam. So students have the option of taking an AP exam at the end of the school year. And based off their score, colleges will determine how many credits they will allocate per their score. So it can give students a head start for earning their college degree. I think the rigor in an AP class is extremely intense, and so it really helps prepare students' writing and critical thinking skills and things like that. So last year, these are the courses that we offered advanced placement sections in. So language and composition, lit, psychology, U.S. history, Calc AB, statistics, government, computer science A, biology, physics, calculus BC, computer science principles, and chemistry. So last year, given COVID, College Board decided to take a few different approaches for testing, which was very nice and accommodating. So we had 3 different testing administrations that took place between May 3rd and June 11th. And each subject had either a digital version of the test or a paper pencil version that you could choose. And all Holmen High School students, with the exception of AP US History, took the paper pencil version. And the majority of them fell during the second testing administration. But AP US History took the digital version of the exam. And AP US History students had the option to take the exam either at home or at school. So this is back in 2000 and 2001, we only offered 7 courses and we had 51 exams. So our numbers have grown immensely. So now we have 13 courses. Last year we had 289 exams and over 200 students tested. So here's a little graph about the AP participation. And so the number of exams and the number of students that scored a 3 or better. And then the percentage of the total AP students with scores of 3 or above. And this is who's participating in our AP courses, grade level wise. So last year we did have 4 freshmen. I think that's probably, is that the first year that we had freshmen coming in, especially at a high level of math and science. And so taking those courses. And the majority of our students are seniors that are testing for AP. And so here, this was really fun, I think, for Kim and I to go through and see how students were scoring on the exams, and the fact that 100% of our Calc BC kids scored a 3 or better, which blows my mind. It's
and
just
computer
amazing.
science as well. It's pretty.
Yeah. So these are students that scored a 3 or above, and the percentage of that.
Questions about our AP program?
Questions, John?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. Just because I'm not familiar with the scoring, what does it mean to score a 3 or above?
So the score for an AP exam is based off a 0 to 5 scale. And so a student who scores a 3, 4, or a 5 on their exam are eligible for college credit.
Okay.
And college credit, how colleges distribute that credit is very different per each university.
Okay. And then I'm curious to know, because this one wasn't, needing to take a test virtually at another college. It was taking an exam. Why do we think that there was such a decline in the last year or two in the percent of students taking the exams? I mean, is it?
There were more students taking exams.
Oh, there was. Okay, I thought that one graph showed that there was a lower percentage of students.
That was for Start College Now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yes, Emily.
So last year I took 2 APs. I did chemistry and AP government, and that was like the hardest thing I've probably ever done in my life. And so at the end of the year, they you take the test and you're done with the class. Like that's the end of learning for teachers and students, because for teachers that's hard stuff to learn. I know my chemistry teacher, she's by the end of the year, I'm wiped, you guys are wiped. That's why she preferred letting kids go for AP release, and I know I super appreciated the AP release that we got last year, and I know that's to keep the numbers down in the school last year. And I heard that it wasn't going to come back again this year, and I've heard it's because there's always more to learn, but once the exam is done, there's really nothing else you have to learn. You just took a college level course as a high schooler, good for you. You're done for the rest of the year. So I personally am in support of a pre-release, but I don't know how that's looking for the rest of the year. So
I think last year was our year for AP release, but I have not heard anything set in stone for this year.
Okay. I don't know who makes the decision on that, but I've taken 3 total, and I didn't take any this year because I was done. I wasn't gonna go through that pain again. But I know for people who take and their whole schedule is stacked with APs, it's hard to do. And so I just want to say to whoever makes that decision that a lot of students are in favor of AP release, and teachers too. It's not just the students who want to leave after school.
I will say too, last year, many of the subjects College Board removed certain units from the exam because they felt that teachers weren't able to get through all of the material because some schools were virtual, some schools were in person, some schools were hybrid, things like that. And I know this year they are not doing that. It will be every unit for the course. And so there's been discussion too that if you need to expand on units, that could take place after the exam.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have one.
Brian.
Last year, I think I remember, because that's when the new sign-up window went into place where it was, the students had to sign up in the fall?
Yeah,
For
students
the
still
exam?
have
For the
to
exam.
sign up, yes.
But I also believe that there was a chance then, because of being virtual, that in the spring, if they did want to not take the exam, they could, like,
Yeah,
back
so-
out of it. Do you know what the percentage was of students that, because I mean, I'm impressed with the numbers continually to go high, that, the percentage of students that then chose not to continue with the test?
We did not have a lot. And so last year, they actually pulled the cancellation fee. So they gave the students the option to cancel their exam if they wished without a cancellation fee. And usually it's a $40 cancellation fee. And I kind of wondered if we would have more students decide not to take the exam later in the year because that registration and that ordering of the exam is so early, but we actually didn't. We had a handful of students that decided not to take the test.
And I would say that's probably a testament to the teachers that did a great job at keeping them engaged.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Any others? You aren't, I'm sorry. But I know they'll stay around and answer any questions you might have, so. Thank you for asking. So, I think that's it. Thank you so
Okay.
very much. This
Thank
also was
you.
for report only. And next on the agenda is debt defeasance by Julie Holmen. And this will be on the 10:25 regular meeting agenda.
So I'm thinking we might have a guest here that's supposed to help present this today. I don't know if you'll see him or just hear him. So Eric from PMA is here with us on Zoom, and he is a director of public finance, PMA Securities. He's not on yet? Okay. Well, then I might just have to do it. I know that Eric had 2 other districts tonight, so we were stacking up agendas and reporting. So Stacy, he hasn't logged in at all? Okay, right, that's right. If he comes in while I'm talking, we'll let him take over, but otherwise I'll give it a shot. So in the past, the School District of Holmen has regularly practiced debt defeasance through our Fund 39 debt service tax levy. We have done that internally, meaning we've defeased debt by over-levying the principal and interest due on the bonds for that year to help level out the mill rate for our tax levy. That's only allowed to be done if you have debt on the books. So in the School District of Holmen, we do have over $25 million in indebtedness currently. And so we have some room to do that. So I'll just go through, this presentation today has to do with externally defeasing debt for future debt, reserve for future debt payments that is already on our books, we can't take it off the books, so we have bond schedules, and this one is specifically for the high school addition and remodel debt that is on our books. So Statute 120.12, Wisconsin statute, requires us to levy for the tax obligations that we have in the school district for the retirement of debt. We are allowed, like I said, to annually levy up to and including all of the outstanding principal and interest. As of June 30th, 2021, that total was $25.6 million. That total does also include some remaining debt on the Prairie View bonds from several years ago. If you recall, 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, we refunded Prairie View debt and shortened the term and saved quite a bit of money on interest, but it is still in that principal outstanding combined. So any additional levy, if we were to levy over the annual principal interest due on the bonds, is for prepayment of debt if there is a call date that has been met. And if the call date has not been met, it is called defeasance. This slide is the history of our school mill rate in Holmen. The Board of Education has had a long-standing goal to try to keep that more level. With our property growth in the area, it's become a little bit more challenging to keep the mill rate level. This mill rate includes general fund, debt service, and community service fund 80. And last year was certified at $9.78. That is $9.78 per 1,000 in fair market property value. So that is the history. You can see it going down a little bit. And next is a simulation. We don't exactly know the total levy because the state certifies general aid on Friday of this week, and that's a large component of the calculation for our total revenue that we are allowed for 21-22. And with that information, then we can determine the general fund levy and the remaining levies in Debt 39 and Fund 80. But this simulation on the screen proposes that we levy 1.5 million in debt service levy so that we can raise the estimated mill rate where the blue bar ends up to $8.24. You can see based on the prior year that it's still a decrease from $9.78 to $8.24, but not as much of a decrease as it would be if we do not defease debt.
Can I just insert for, especially for the newer board members, the reason why we do that is we know that with the growth we're seeing, eventually we're going to have needs to build again. And if we go way down and then all of a sudden need to build a building, then it's going to be a kick, I think, to some of our families, that it will be such a rapid increase in 1 year. So really what we're doing is paying off some debt early, taking it off of the end and putting it to now in order to maintain that stability so that if we do have another referendum and another building project, we wouldn't do that then, and the impact of that building would be less. And so trying to keep it steady, and also for our constituents so they can plan and they know kind of what the school portion of the property taxes are. So that's, just so you know that that's the reason why, because it's nice to see it go down. I mean, it's like something to celebrate and say, hey, it would, it's nice to do that, but we want to try to maintain that consistency as much as we possibly can for that reason.
Thank you, Cheryl. So smoothing out the tax levy is a very popular strategic approach in K-12 schools to avoid those sudden drops, or more importantly, sudden increases, like Cheryl was talking about. A couple ways, again, to manage that is through Fund 80 Community Service or the Debt Service Fund 39, which is the more popular approach. So in addition, if an additional levy is approved, these additional funds will be targeted to save on long-term debt interest. Debt defeasance also provides for future property tax relief or provide greater flexibility when strategizing for future debt issuance. So as Cheryl mentioned, for future debt issuance for future capital projects, we can help provide more flexibility in strategizing for debt and bringing on that debt onto the books and onto the levy. So in regards to...
I think, is Eric on?
Yes. Oh. Eric, you want to take over? Okay, I'll just continue then. Okay. So on the screen is in preliminary analysis of levying an additional $1.5 million associated with the high school addition and remodel debt. So on the left side is before defeasance. So this is our current bond schedule, principal and interest due, and the calendar years on the far left of when that is due. If you recall, and you were here when we bonded for this debt in 2018, it's just an 11-year schedule, so it's kind of short to begin with. And we were able to do that through flexibility, through Debt 39, and applying previous defeasance to help with that, to shorten that bond term. So on the left is the current bond schedule, and on the right, under the blue header, is after defeasance. You can see the 21-22 incremental levy of 1.5 million. This is being proposed to help again with supporting that levy not dropping quite as much in the mill rate. And also, it reduces the payments. So if you go all the way to the bottom line under 2030, calendar year 2030, you see that the principal currently due is almost 2.9 million. And with the debt defeasance, that would reduce that principal due in the last year to 1.5 million. And then there's also savings in the blue bottom right of 160,797 in interest over the life of the debt because of the defeasance. So one important thing to remember is that when we do this, it is earmarked only for future debt payment. It is put into an escrow account for that purpose, and it reduces our total payment on the bond over the course of the bond schedule. There is a cost to defeasing debt into an escrow account, but that cost does, the interest savings far exceeds the cost of the defeasance. And then one more thing to add in the bottom right corner, the projected impact for state aid, which is a positive impact into the general fund of approximately $460,000. So when we make this payment, it's considered an expenditure in the current year into the escrow account for future earmarked for defeasance. But at the same time, it goes into our shared cost calculation and would increase aid. It doesn't increase revenue, it's just who's paying under the revenue limit formula. So it would increase state aid in the following year and having the offset reduction in property tax for general fund. Does he have audio? Does he want to add?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Hello.
This is Eric Cass from PMA. I apologize I'm late. This is my third presentation on the same topic here this evening, so the other one ran a little bit over. I was listening to everything Julie said, and I don't know that I have much to add other than, that the costs associated with this that I just wanted to point out are fixed. So we're projecting $13,500, which is an all-in cost to set it all up and make sure that it is appropriate and allowable. And that, again, it's just the only other thing I wanted to make sure we highlighted. But this is a very timely topic for a lot of school districts here in Wisconsin, looking at driving down future obligations with this, which this is all about, by kind of balancing their levy this year with some of the large increases that we've seen.
Any questions for either Julie or Eric? I don't see any questions. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you, Julie. This will be on the agenda on the 25th as well, during our regular board meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. So then, moving on to consent agenda items, we have 6 items this evening. Unless you have any that you would like to have pulled out and separated, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda items as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, board member reports and discussion, and I know some committees are starting to meet, so I'll call on board members in the order of roll call, and it's asked that you present any comments or committee reports that you may have. And Anita, you are first.
I don't have anything other than Personnel and Governance will be meeting for the first time next Wednesday, October 20th at 5 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Chris Lau?
Happy homecoming week. I see Emily's wearing her pajamas. My kids wear their pajamas to school today too. I just want to say thank you to the food service and transportation teams. The district just wouldn't be the same without those teams of folks. They're great people. Bus drivers are awesome. Food service people are great. So thanks to those folks. And then it's always great with the ECCB presentation. That's really a great thing that we do in our district to make sure that our kids have some variety and options for college. The big savings for them. That's it.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Yeah, building and grounds meeting was tonight. Everybody was present, so that was exciting. It was our first meeting. There is a big district-wide facility condition and educational adequacy, is that?
Yeah,
No?
it's close.
Adequacy? Assessment going on of all the buildings. I guess it'll be very interesting, very detailed of how our facilities are, and the conditions of the facilities, and the board will be given a report on that. So, and then also that committee is also, or their goal is to review a minimum of 5 policies. So we'll be working hard all year. So we met tonight, and that's all I have.
So only 5 policies? I'm just kidding. And I think the study that you're talking about is the one Julie's been talking about related to fund.
The study is just an overall district assessment.
Right, okay.
But it may relate to Fund 46.
Yes.
Capital Improvement Trust Fund at some point in the future, because they'll be presenting like a 10 to 20-year long-range plan on capital improvement.
Thank you. Brian?
I'd like to wish everyone a happy homecoming week and to encourage members of the community to come out this Friday from 4 to 8 for the Eat the Street for Education in support of the Holmen Area Foundation. They do support a lot of grants within the school and in the community. Also, a shout out to all the teachers and staff members that put together the Adventure Day for 6th grade. My daughter participated, and having 4 schools come together into the middle school, she was very nervous about not knowing everyone and being able to make friends. And I'll tell you, that day she came home, was so enthusiastic. Dad, I know everyone. And then the best part, I think this speaks to how we really planned things well at the high school. The lunch, the whole concept of going through lunch. Dad, it was like 100 kids in less than 30 seconds. It was awesome. We had all these choices. She's ready for high school. I am not ready for that to happen. But she really enjoyed Adventure Day. So thank you, and hats off to the students and the staff that put that together.
Thank you, Brian. That's awesome. Emily?
Since it's kind of my job, the last few weeks I've been super observant to the environment of the high school, and one of the biggest things I've observed is how little logic we have going on during decisions made about these COVID protocols, and one of the biggest things being that there's no ASL game on Friday during the school day. And that's where the Holmen ASL team gets to play on the football field against a team made up of other students in the high school. And it's just a really fun time, and it really just stings that it's not happening this year. When on Friday night, the night of the homecoming game, we're going to have hundreds of students, staff, family, and visitors packed full in Empire Stadium. But to have students and staff spread out along the bleachers is unsafe. Please let these ASL students experience the happiness and adrenaline of the whole school coming together and cheering them on. And I'm a person who values tradition, and I really think it would crush a lot of people who look forward to this event. The next thing is our weight room. Our student athletes, they work out every single morning before school, after school practice, or after school lifting. And the other day in the weight room, we were told that if we were wearing a mask incorrectly, just below my nose, we would be asked to leave. And if you forgot a mask, there were none provided by the school, which happened today. My mask broke before I was putting it on. They only had the cotton ones, so there were no disposable ones either, and that's just crazy to me because these athletes can't work out without a mask, but when they go right into the locker room, it comes right off. They're all hanging out in the locker rooms together, and then go eat breakfast together on the lunch table without masks. COVID doesn't exist. But it does in the weight room. This brings up another great logical decision, is wrestling with a mask on. Are you telling me that when I wrestle at practice up in my partner's face, sweating on them, it's safe because I'm wearing a mask? And then COVID's gone when we go back into the locker room, right? Sure, you could shut everything down again. 10 whole cases in our district, huge numbers. Not really. These numbers just show you that week after week we are ready to move forward and remove these masks. Let us throw candy at the homecoming parade. Let our teachers teach without a mask. Let students interact without a mask. And give every student and staff member a choice again. These teachers are tired of having to be the bad guys, and students are tired of being scolded and threatened to be sent to the office when their masks fall below their nose. Wearing a mask and my own health decisions should be up to me. A better breakdown of our COVID numbers right now. Evergreen, the preschool, the middle school, and Viking all have 0. The high school has 2. Prairie View has a couple, 4, and Sand Lake has 1. We have 1 staff member from Sand Lake and only 1 from Viking, too. But we're asking our entire district. Let's just use the data from our district and not compare it to a college town made up of 3 big colleges and La Crosse County, which doesn't have the best reputation of one of the biggest drinking towns in Wisconsin. Our numbers may be low because we're masking, but how do we know? We haven't even been in a whole school year without masks. What if the numbers show to be the same if we took them off? If we started the school year without masks, it'd be a lot easier to put them back on, but with the new matrix of taking them off, it looks like that'll never happen. If a few weeks ago you were okay with sitting next to me without a mask and going out to stores without one, there should be no hesitation to take them off now with such few positive cases in our district. And a special reminder, I don't know if this is taught in school anymore, but it is Columbus Day as well as Indigenous Peoples Day. I think it should still be taught in schools because I remember learning about it when I was a kid. It's still a national holiday. So, and happy homecoming week.
Okay, Jennifer Deek?
Yes, I'd like to start out with some thank yous. First of all, with the Wisconsin School Board Week last week, I want to take a moment to thank all the school board members I serve with for your dedication to our students, staff, and community. I'm honored to serve with you on the Holmen School Board. And then with National School Lunch Recognition Week occurring this week, I want to thank Mike Gasper and the nutrition team for all their hard work and dedication in helping to ensure every child in our district is provided meals free of charge. I truly believe there isn't a better nutrition program anywhere in our region. And with National School Bus Safety Week, the week of October 18th, I want to thank our transportation department for always showing up and getting our children to and from school, as well as other events safely every day. And then I guess just one COVID item from me. I know that we had a number of mitigation strategies change this year compared to last year. And I guess I am also curious to know if we have any spread within our schools. That'd be interesting to me to learn. And lastly, I guess I'm looking forward to attending my first committee meeting starting next week, and I'll be a member of the Student Achievement and Learning Committee that Cheryl chairs.
All right, thank you. Yes, that committee meets next week for its introductory meeting. I believe we have also another board meeting work that we're talking about around that time as well. So I did want to thank everybody for speaking this evening and coming forward and presenting their opinions. It is really important for the board to hear and to listen. I want to acknowledge Dr. Mueller, who isn't here this evening, and it is senior night at volleyball. And when we talked about the agenda for tonight, she talked about, how disappointed she was going to miss it. And I'm like, you are not going to miss it, because she misses other things for her family. And I know her staff also supported her and encouraged her to attend as well. And so I'm very, very pleased that she did take that opportunity to attend senior night tonight. I wanted to mention, I know I talked about some co-curricular activities last board meeting, and on the very same day, but I wasn't aware of it at the time, a historic accomplishment happened. It was the first time the Holmen tennis team won the conference championship. And so it was earlier in the day, and I wished I had known, but I just want to shout out to them. Congratulations for doing that as a team for the very first time. I know that they also just placed 4th out of 17 teams in the sectional, so they've had a good run, and we're very proud of them and the work that they're doing, as we are all of our co-curricular activities. I believe volleyball is also the conference champ and is still got a perfect season, if I'm not mistaken, but they continue to move forward. And yes, you know, I have these beautiful cards that are made up of student artwork here. From one of the schools, received a card at home, and many comments and texts and those kind of messages, thanking us for the work that we do on the school board. And we know oftentimes people aren't going to agree with everything that we do, but it is nice to see and hear that it's appreciated at the work that we do. I did want to note something, and maybe to help the community. I know it's been suggested that we have abdicated our responsibility by having our administration make decisions, but that is how our school district has, that's the strategy. I don't want to say abdicated, but the strategy that we have used for the 20-plus years that I've been on the board is following some of the guidance from the School Board Association, which recommends for highly performing school boards that there are 3 responsibilities that we have as a school board. It is to set policy. So each of the committees that we have as a board has policies that they will look at and review, and we will set those policies. We set the budget. So when Julie comes before us, we often hear about the budget, but that kind of drives everything else that happens within the district. And we recruit, hire, and retain the district administrator, and then empower them to oversee the activities of the district, the day-to-day activities. We work hard not to micromanage our administrative team. We empower them. That's what their role is. And sometimes, so Emily, some of those decisions that are made on the school building level. They're not necessarily made by the district administrator. They're not made by the school board. It might be on the building level. Some of them might be program level, so athletics and those kind of things. They get the guidance and they hear it from WIAA, and so I'm not sure about the masking, the wrestling. I know there's been a lot of talk, and we saw what was happening last year because gymnastics, which is near and dear to my heart, you know, they were at one point having to wear, the conference I think voted to have masks on even when they were performing, but then when they got into the tournament. So I think it's just trying to follow who is making those decisions sometimes can be very difficult. But decisions then are, you know, are made at different varying levels. And I would say to you that we hire quality people to do that, to make those decisions for us as a district. So as COVID, and we've talked about this before, but as a reminder, with COVID, what we did was we set the parameters and the criteria that would be used to make decisions. And sometimes it pleases people and sometimes it doesn't, but they have stayed true to that. The board would step in if it was clear that the people making those decisions were not following the parameters that we have established. And so far, that hasn't been the case. They meet weekly with the local experts in the field. They scrutinize the CDC and DHS and all those agencies, and then they apply it to the local levels. And so we work hard to try to be a highly performing school district, and I believe our low numbers that we've been hearing about are evidence of that. We've seen other school districts, and we're starting to hear about school districts having to go virtual, and that's not the direction we want to go. So I just wanted to explain that for people, that is how decisions are made, and that is why they're made like that, and the guidance that we have. And so, again, appreciate everybody coming out and sharing their thoughts and opinions, and please know that we do hear you. So we don't want to be masking forever either. That's not our goal. But our goal is to keep kids in school in person as much as we possibly can. So I would just note that we are set to meet on the 25th. We will be having a budget hearing at that time. Our annual meeting will be following the budget hearing, and then our board meeting would be following the annual meeting. It's kind of our super meeting night. WASB school, fall meeting is on the 28th, and then we have a board meeting scheduled for November 8th. I don't have anything else. Unless there is other business to come before the board at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. We are adjourned.